I didn't even like the TV. It came with the apartment because the previous tenant didn't want to carry it down 4 flights of stairs, and my landlord offered it to me like a bonus. It was too big for the room, mounted on the wall across from my bed, the kind of smart TV with a thin black frame and a remote that always felt greasy no matter how often you wiped it. I didn't subscribe to anything. I didn't connect a cable box. I used it sometimes for background noise, but mostly it just hung there like a dark mirror. The building's Wi-Fi was unstable, and the TV complained about it constantly. Pop-ups, updates, connect to a network, like it was needy. So I disconnected it. I turned off the Wi-Fi setting inside the TV menu and forgot about it. I didn't even sign into an account. No streaming apps, no voice assistant, nothing. It was a screen, a dumb rectangle. I live alone. The apartment is a standard 1-bedroom, a narrow hallway, a small living room, a bedroom with the TV facing the bed, and a kitchen that smells like old paint no matter what you cook. The windows face another building so close I can see into someone else's curtains, which is why I keep mine closed at night. It's a safe place. It should have been. The first night it happened, I woke up before the sound reached me. You know how sometimes you wake up because something changes in the room, like the air shifts, or the silence gets interrupted in a way your body notices before your brain catches up. That's what it felt like. I opened my eyes and the room was lit in cold blue. The TV was on, not bright like a normal show, not colorful, not even a menu. It was showing my room from an angle that made no sense. The camera perspective was high, near the ceiling corner opposite the TV, pointing down at the bed. And on the bed, under the blanket, was me. I saw my own outline, the rise and fall of my breathing. My head turned slightly to the side. For a second, my mind tried to put it into an easy category, a screensaver, a demo mode, some weird ambient feature. But the image wasn't stock footage. It was too imperfect, too real. The shadows matched the exact shape of my dresser. The rumpled pile of laundry on the chair was in the right place. The half-empty water bottle on my nightstand was there. And the person in the bed was moving, slowly, because I was breathing. I sat up so fast the blanket slid off my shoulder. On the TV, my body in the bed sat up too, delayed by maybe half a second. The motion was exact, a live feed. My throat tightened. I reached for my phone. The screen was dark. I tapped it. Nothing. Dead battery. I hadn't charged it. The TV's light made my hands look gray. I stared at the screen again, trying to find the source. A camera in the TV? A webcam? A baby monitor? But the angle wasn't from the TV. It wasn't facing me from the wall. It was watching from above and behind, like something was perched where there was nothing but blank drywall. I turned my head slowly toward the corner the TV feed seemed to be coming from. The corner was empty. No camera, no device, no blinking light, just a shadowed angle where the ceiling met the wall. Then, in the quiet hum of the TV speakers, I heard breathing. Not mine. The TV feed had audio. It was faint, like a microphone far away. I held my breath. The breathing continued. Then came a soft sound, fabric shifting, like someone adjusting their weight. My skin went cold. Because if the audio was real, and the camera perspective was real, then something was in my room with me. Not on the bed, not by the door, up high, watching. And the TV was showing me what it saw. The screen flickered once, a quick glitch, and for a fraction of a second the image sharpened unnaturally. like the camera was focusing. In that instant, I saw something in the top corner of the frame. A shape. It was darker than the darkness around it, like a patch where the camera couldn't process detail. Not a person exactly. More like a presence that absorbed light. Then it was gone as the feed returned to its grainy normal. I didn't move for a full minute. I sat with my back against the headboard, staring at my own room on a screen, waiting for the next cue. The TV didn't play a sound, no voice, no message, just the live image of my bedroom and the faint breathing that wasn't mine. I slid out of bed, moving slowly so the feed would show it. I kept my eyes on the TV, using it like a mirror. When I stepped onto the floor, the screen showed my feet touch the carpet. I crept toward the corner the camera seemed to be in, never turning my back to the TV. When I reached it, I looked up. Empty. Nothing. I raised my hand and waved it through the air where the lens should have been. On the TV, my hand moved through empty space. No distortion, no obstruction. Like the camera wasn't a physical object. Like it was simply there. I backed away, heart racing. The TV suddenly went black. Not off. Black, like the input had changed. A spinning icon appeared for a second, then disappeared. Then the TV displayed a single line of text on a plain, dark background. In small white letters, "You're awake." My stomach dropped. I reached for the remote on the nightstand. My fingers shook so badly I knocked it to the floor. I grabbed it, pressed the power button again and again. Nothing happened. The TV stayed on. The text remained. Then, beneath it, a new line appeared. Good. Then the screen went back to the live feed. Only now the camera angle was different. It wasn't the ceiling corner anymore. It was lower, closer, as if the camera had moved down the wall, as if it had leaned in to see me better. I didn't sleep after that. I sat in my living room with every light on, staring at the blank wall where the TV hung, because I'd unplugged it the moment the sun came up. Noon, while I was making coffee, I walked past the bedroom and saw a faint blue glow through the crack in the door. My stomach turned. I stepped in. The TV was on again. Unplugged. It showed my bedroom. Except the bed was empty, because I was standing in the doorway. The camera perspective was from inside my closet. The closet door was closed. I stared at it. On the TV, the closet interior was dark, but the angle was unmistakable. The camera was behind the slats of hanging clothes, looking out through a narrow gap. I walked to the closet and flung the door open. Empty. Just clothes, shoes, a vacuum. No camera. I looked back at the TV. The feed didn't change. It still showed the closet interior view, even though the closet was open in reality. The TV showed a version of my room that ignored what I was doing. Like it wasn't showing reality. It was showing a recording. Or something worse. A perspective that existed alongside reality, independent of my actions. The screen flickered, and the image shifted again, smoothly, like switching between cameras. Now it was showing the hallway outside my bedroom, looking inward at me, as if the camera was in the hallway right behind my back. I spun around. The hallway was empty. No movement, no person, no shadow. The TV kept showing the hallway angle anyway. My own back visible, my shoulders tense, my heart hammered. I reached out and touched the TV screen. Cold glass. On the feed, my hand touched the screen too, but from a different angle, like someone watching the moment of contact. Then the TV displayed text again. overlaying the live feed. Don't cover it. I jerked my hand away. I didn't know what it meant. The TV? The camera? The thing watching? I grabbed a blanket and threw it over the TV screen, like you do to a mirror in a haunted house story. The blanket slid, snagged on the edges. The TV's blue light glowed through it faintly. Then the blanket moved, not slid. Moved, like something underneath it pushed outward. I stepped back. The fabric bulged in a slow, deliberate way, as if a hand pressed from the inside of the screen. The outline wasn't clear. It wasn't fingers. It was a shape that suggested pressure, like the screen itself was becoming soft. Then the blanket fell to the floor. The TV was uncovered again, perfectly visible. The live feed now showed my living room, from a low angle near the floor, aimed up at me standing in the doorway. A caption appeared across the bottom. "We like to see." I didn't call the police that day. I thought about it. I even picked up my phone and hovered over the emergency number. But what would I say? "My unplugged TV is showing my room from impossible angles." They'd come. They'd look. The TV would be black. They'd tell me to sleep more, drink less caffeine, check carbon monoxide levels, buy a new TV. And if the TV wanted an audience, inviting strangers into the story felt like giving it exactly what it wanted. So I did the next best thing. I bought a camera, a security camera, the same kind people use to watch their pets. I set it on a shelf in my bedroom facing the TV. So if the TV showed anything, the camera would record the TV doing it. A camera watching a camera. A closed loop of proof. I wanted to trap it in evidence. That night, I charged my phone fully and kept it beside me. I left the TV unplugged. I turned off the lights and lay in bed, staring at the black rectangle on the wall. At 3:17 a.m., the room lit up in cold blue. The TV turned on. My phone vibrated. The security camera app sent a notification. Motion detected. I opened the live feed. My security camera showed my bedroom. The TV was on, glowing. So it was real. It wasn't my imagination. I switched to the TV's image, watching directly with my eyes. It showed my room again, but not from the ceiling corner this time. From the security camera's perspective. Exactly the same angle as my camera, same height, same field of view. My skin went cold. The TV was showing the security camera feed, but the security camera feed was showing the TV. A loop, an infinite mirror. And in the loop, something started to appear. At first it was subtle. Just a smudge in the top corner of the TV's image, a darker patch of dark. Then, as the loop repeated, the smudge became clearer, like the system was refining it with each iteration. A head shape, shoulders, a figure forming from recursion, built out of repeated frames. I stared, unable to look away. On the TV, the figure stood behind my bed. In the security camera feed, there was nothing behind my bed. But in the TV's version of that feed, the figure became more defined with every loop, as if the TV could add what the camera couldn't capture, as if it was editing reality by repetition. My phone buzzed with a new notification. Not from the camera app. A system pop-up on my phone itself. New device connected. Living room display. I hadn't connected anything. Another pop-up appeared. Allow! 2 options. Yes and no. My thumb hovered, shaking. I pressed no. The pop-up disappeared. The TV flickered. The image stuttered like a breath caught. Then a new line of text appeared over the loop. You can't deny a screen. The pop-up on my phone returned instantly. Allow. This time there was no option. Only yes. My throat tightened. The TV's looped image continued. The figure behind my bed grew clearer. Not fully human, but close enough to trigger the part of my brain that recognizes faces and shadows. Then, through the TV speakers, a sound came. 3 soft clicks, evenly spaced, like someone tapping a fingernail against glass. And beneath that, a whisper. So faint I wasn't sure if it was sound or thought. "Look at me." My chest tightened. I wanted to close my eyes, I wanted to throw the phone, I wanted to cover the TV. But the earlier message echoed in my head. "Don't cover it!" I didn't know why, but my body believed it. So I stared. The figure on the TV moved. Not in the room, on the screen. It leaned slightly, like it was stepping closer in the image. Then the TV feed shifted angle again. Now it wasn't showing my room from the security camera view. It was showing my face. A close-up. From my phone's front camera. My face lit by blue light, eyes wide, mouth slightly open. I hadn't opened the camera app. I hadn't granted permission. But the TV was showing me from my own phone. My throat went dry. My phone vibrated in my hand like something alive. The TV displayed text beneath my face. "Don't blink." I froze. My eyes burned immediately, as if my body rebelled. I tried to keep them open. The air felt thick. The TV's blue light seemed brighter than before. My security camera notification buzzed again. Motion detected. I glanced at the feed. My camera showed me in bed, staring at the TV. And behind my bed, on the camera feed, not just the TV, there was now a shape, a faint distortion in the air, like heat shimmer. My blood turned to ice. It had crossed over, not fully, but enough to register as motion. The camera had detected it. I looked back at the TV. The figure was no longer forming. It was there, standing behind my bed in the live feed, in my room. I didn't hear footsteps. I didn't feel breath. But the screen showed it, and the camera confirmed it. Then the TV went black for half a second. When it turned back on, it wasn't showing my room. It was showing my living room, from an angle near the front door. The perspective was low, like a phone held at waist height. And on the screen, my front door was open. I sat up, heart hammering. I hadn't heard the door. I grabbed my phone and ran into the living room. The door was closed, locked, chain hanging. But the TV showed it open. The TV feed showed the hallway outside, empty. Then, in the TV image, a figure stepped into the frame from the right. Not the shadowy one this time, a person. A man, maybe, wearing a hoodie. He walked into my apartment on screen like he belonged there. He didn't look at the camera. He didn't look around. He walked straight into the hallway toward my bedroom. On the TV, he was approaching. In reality, my hallway was empty. Then my bedroom security camera app buzzed again. Motion detected. I opened it. The camera feed showed my hallway. And now, in the feed, there was movement. A person's shadow crossing the doorway. My stomach dropped. It wasn't just on the TV anymore. Whatever the TV had shown as a possibility had become a motion in my actual camera. I backed away, chest tight. I didn't hear footsteps in reality, but the camera showed them. The TV showed the hoodie figure reaching my bedroom door. My security camera feed showed the bedroom door moving slightly, as if someone touched it. My hand shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. I ran to the bedroom door and slammed it shut, turning the lock. I backed into the corner, breathing hard. The TV in the living room was still on. It started playing audio loudly now, filling the apartment. The sound wasn't music. It was my own room tone, my fridge hum, my building's distant pipes. played back through speakers with a slight delay, like the apartment echoing itself. Then, through that echo, came a voice. Not distorted, not whispering. Clear, close, calm. Turn around. I froze. The voice came from the TV, but it also came from my bedroom, like the words had traveled through the walls. I didn't turn. My phone buzzed. A message appeared on the screen with no sender. You saw it. Now it can stand there. Another message. The TV is a window. Your eyes are the door. My breath caught. I understood it in a horrible, intuitive way. It wasn't using the TV to enter physically. It was using the TV to enter conceptually, to place an image in my head so firmly that my brain began to accept it as real. And once my brain accepted it, reality had to follow, like a nightmare that becomes true because you can't stop picturing it. In the living room, the TV volume lowered. The screen changed again. Now it showed my bedroom, from behind me. The angle was low and close, like someone standing right at my back, holding a camera inches away from my shoulder. I felt my skin prickle. I knew there was nothing behind me because my back was against the wall, but the TV showed otherwise. It showed a figure standing behind me, close enough that the dark fabric of its sleeve nearly touched my neck. I swallowed, throat tight. The TV displayed text across the bottom. It's easier when you imagine it. I shut my eyes. For 1 second. Just a blink. The moment my eyes closed, something tapped the wall beside my head. 3 taps. Evenly spaced. Close enough that the vibration traveled through plaster and into my teeth. Tap. 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 I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just opened my eyes again, terrified of what would change if I gave it even a second of darkness. The TV was silent now. No echo, no voice, just the image of my room. Then the image shifted. It showed my bedroom from the ceiling corner again, like the first night. But the bed in the image was empty, because in that version of reality, I wasn't there. A line of text appeared in the center. You left. My stomach dropped. I shook my head hard, like that could dislodge the thought. I was still in my bedroom. I could feel the carpet under my feet. I could feel my heartbeat. But the TV insisted I was gone. Then the security camera feed on my phone glitched. The video froze. When it resumed, the camera perspective had changed. It was no longer showing my bedroom from where I placed it. It was showing my bedroom from the ceiling corner, the same impossible angle as the TV, as if the camera had moved, or as if the feed had switched to a different camera entirely. My phone displayed a label I hadn't set. Camera 2. I had only bought 1 camera. The feed showed my bedroom, and in the feed I wasn't there. The room was empty. But the camera angle was real enough that my mind started to doubt my body. A cold dread spread through me. I looked down at my hands, as if I needed to confirm they existed. My fingers trembled. I clenched them into fists. They were real. But the screens said otherwise. And screens have a way of overriding what you feel, if you stare long enough. The TV's audio returned softly. This time it wasn't an echo. It was a sound I recognized with immediate panic. My own voice. It played from the TV, recorded, calm. "Hello?" it said. "Hello?" Again, slightly different intonation, like it was practicing. Then, "It's me." Then, "I'm in the hallway." Then, "Open the door." It wasn't talking to me through the TV. It was rehearsing me, learning how to sound like I would sound. The TV showed my front door again. In the feed, the hoodie figure stood outside. He lifted a hand and knocked. Once, then twice, then 3 times. In reality, My door stayed silent. But on the TV, the knock landed like a cue, and my phone buzzed with one last message. If you hear it, it's too late. If you see it, it's already here. At that point, I did the only thing that felt like a choice. I stopped looking. Not dramatically, not with courage, with desperation. I turned my phone face down and shoved it under a pillow, like it was a live insect. I walked into the living room without looking at the TV screen. I kept my eyes fixed on the floor, on the edges of furniture, on anything that wasn't the bright rectangle on the wall. I reached behind the TV with my hand, feeling for cords. My fingers found the power cable I'd unplugged earlier and felt it warm. Warm, like current had been flowing. But it wasn't plugged in. I yanked it anyway, ripping it free from the TV port. The TV stayed on. I felt sick. I grabbed the TV itself, fingers digging into the frame, and pulled. The mount creaked. The wall flexed. The TV didn't budge. Like it wasn't attached to the wall. Like it was attached to the room. The screen flickered. The audio cut. A line of text appeared, huge and centered. Stop fighting the view. I shut my eyes and stumbled backward. I found the breaker box in the hallway by touch, something I'd used once when a fuse tripped. I yanked the main switch down. The apartment fell into darkness. Silence. For a moment, relief hit me so hard my knees went weak. Then the TV turned on anyway. In the darkness, its blue glow filled the room. Not powered by the building. Not powered by the outlet. Powered by something else. The screen showed my living room now exactly as it was, dark, empty, lit by its own glow. And in the image, I saw myself standing in the hallway, face pale, hands shaking. The angle was from behind the TV, looking outward, as if the TV itself had become the camera. A caption appeared across the bottom. There. That's better. And then, in the TV image, something moved behind me. A shape stepping into frame, close enough that its shadow overlapped mine. My heart stopped. I didn't turn around. I refused. I stood rigid, staring at the screen. The shape leaned close to my ear in the image, and I heard the whisper in the actual room at the same time, soft and patient, like a person teaching a rule. "You can't close a window," it said. "You can only stop looking out." I ran. Not out the door, because the door felt like another screen now, another rectangle that could lie. I ran to the bathroom and shut the door, and sat in the tub like it was a bunker. I stayed there until morning, eyes closed, ears straining for footsteps. None came. When the sun finally pushed weak light through my blinds, I emerged cautiously. The TV was off, black, dead. The breaker was still down. My phone buzzed under the pillow. I didn't want to look. But I did, because curiosity is the same thing as fear, just wearing a smarter mask. On my phone was a new video file. No sender, no timestamp. Title, 3:17. I didn't press play. I deleted it. The phone froze for a second, then the file disappeared. Then it reappeared. I deleted it again. It came back. Then a message appeared on my screen. "You can't delete a broadcast." That day I moved out. Not with a plan. Not with grace. I grabbed what I could carry. Wallet, keys, charger, clothes in a bag, my laptop. I left the TV on the wall. I left the security camera where it sat. I left the breaker off. I walked out into the hallway and didn't look back. For a week I stayed with a friend across town. I didn't tell them the full truth. I said my apartment had electrical issues. I said I needed time. At night, I avoided screens. I didn't watch TV. I didn't scroll. I kept my phone face down. I tried to starve it. And for a while, it worked. No 317, no blue glow, no live feed of my room. I started to believe it was tied to that TV, that wall, that specific apartment. Then, on the 8th night, my friend's TV turned on. It was already on when I walked into the living room to get water. The screen glowed blue. My stomach dropped instantly. My friend's TV was showing their living room from a high corner near the ceiling. The camera angle I recognized, the way you recognize a scar. And on the couch in the feed was my friend, asleep. The room around me was empty because my friend was in bed. But the TV showed them on the couch. A moment later, the image updated smoothly, like it was correcting itself. Now the feed showed the couch empty. Then the camera panned, slowly, deliberately, toward the hallway, as if searching, as if hunting for the right frame. It stopped when it found me standing there, frozen, holding a glass of water. The screen zoomed in slightly, like an eye narrowing. Text appeared. "You brought me a new room." "What happened?" they asked, squinting at. "What happened?" they asked, squinting at the TV. "Why is it?" They stopped mid-sentence because the TV feed changed. It was now showing my old bedroom, my old TV wall, the black rectangle, the breaker box, the empty apartment. But the camera perspective was from behind the TV, looking out. And in that feed, standing in the doorway of my empty old bedroom, was a figure, hooded, still. It turned its head slowly toward the camera. And the camera, wherever it was, leaned closer. My friend whispered my name, confused and scared. I didn't answer. The TV audio hissed. A whisper came through, so soft it barely existed. "Don't blink," it said. Then the TV went black. The living room lights flickered once, and my friend's phone buzzed with a new notification. A video file. Title: 317. My friend looked at me, eyes wide. I saw the same question in their face that had burned through mine the first night. How? Before they could ask it out loud, their TV turned on again. This time it didn't show the room. It showed a single line of text. "We are live." And beneath it, smaller, "Turn around." I didn't. I couldn't. Because I understood the rule now. It didn't need to enter through doors. It entered through frames, through eyes, through the moment you accept an image as real. And once you do, it learns how to stand where the camera stands. It learns how to occupy an angle you can't stop imagining. So I stood still, staring at the screen, refusing to give it my head turning, my confirmation, my surrender. My friend's breathing quickened beside me. I could feel them wanting to look, wanting to check behind us. I wanted to grab their shoulder and stop them, but I didn't touch them, because movement felt like another cue. The TV hissed again, pleased. Then it whispered one final sentence that sounded almost kind, like a promise. "It's easier," it said, "when you stop fighting the view." After that, the TV went dark. No more text, no more glow. My friend and I stood in silence, listening to the building's normal sounds return. We didn't talk about it right away. We cleaned up the glass. We pretended it was a power surge, a glitch, a coincidence. We went back to bed and forced ourselves to sleep. But I didn't forget what I saw. And I didn't forget the way the TV had found me in a room that wasn't mine. Because that meant something simple and terrifying. It wasn't tied to my apartment. It wasn't tied to that TV. It was tied to the act of watching, to the moment a screen becomes more believable than your own senses. And it had learned my angles, Sometimes late at night when I can't sleep, I catch myself staring at blank screens, my phone, my laptop, the dark TV in a hotel room, and I feel the urge to turn them on, just to prove nothing is there. That urge is the trap, because if you turn it on, you're giving it a frame. And if it has a frame, it has a place to stand. I haven't owned a TV since. I keep my phone screen dim and my laptop closed. I don't use mirrors in the dark. I avoid security cameras and baby monitors and anything that watches for you. But it doesn't matter, not really. Because the last time it happened, it didn't even use a device. It used a window. I woke up at 3:17 without an alarm, without a sound. Just that instinct that something had changed in the room. I opened my eyes. The bedroom was dark. No blue glow, no screen, just night. Then I saw it. On the far wall, where moonlight spilled through the blinds, there was a rectangle of light, sharper than a normal shadow, a perfect screen shape. And inside that rectangle, the image of my room appeared, grainy and cold, as if projected from nowhere. A live feed. My bed. My blanket. Me. A frame. Without a TV. A broadcast. Without a device. And in the top corner of that impossible image, a dark shape leaned closer, as if it had always been there, waiting for me to look. Text appeared across the rectangle, glowing faintly like subtitles. Still watching, I shut my eyes. I didn't move. I tried not to breathe. But in the silence I heard it, the softest sound, evenly spaced, like a signal between worlds. A tiny click, another click, and another. 3 in a row. And then the whisper came, not from a speaker, not from a screen, but from the space right behind my thoughts. "Good," it said. "You're live.